As you can see, spring really is here and the Kaiki behind me has started to green up. So I'm going to be looking at doing a lawn renovation next week, but today I've got myself a little Stihl scarifier, which I'm going to try in this area and just test it out and tell you guys what I think of it basically. So we have here today the Stihl RLA 240 here. You can use our little AK30 batteries if you've already got them and you've got some other kit, and you can just buy the skin here as well, which is handy. Got some scarification blades underneath, also got a grooming reel there as well, which you can swap out, which is handy if you just want to go a little bit lighter and get that above ground thatch, whereas we're trying to get all the dead stuff from underneath the soil with this here. Interested to see how well it goes and how deep it's actually going to drop down. Catcher on the back, if we want to use that as well, which I reckon we'll be emptying that very quickly if we go quite deep on this lawn because it's been a long winter. And then you can also adjust your height just over here as well. So just spin it up and down, which just moves the wheels up and down. So I think let's just go give it a run for its money. The grass is a little bit long at the moment, so it may struggle a bit because it is a battery machine. I'm used to using petrol ones. I have used a battery one in the past, the Masport one, and it did pretty well on Kike. So it'd be good to give this thing a test and see what I think of it. But I've got a feeling it may struggle in the longer stuff. I may have to scalp it down, which is what you tend to do anyway when you scarify an area. You scalp it first and then you run a scarifier through it. But I thought I'd just run it through first, do one pass here, see how it goes. I'll even take the catcher off and see how much it pulls out just to show you guys as well. Whoa, that has pulled some thatch out of there, man. That's off one pass. Not even one pass, to be honest, like it's not a very long area. It did bog down a bit as I thought it would on that really, really low setting with the longer top growth on top. You really do need to scalp an area when you're using a battery scarifier like this, but man, it's pulled out some dead material. Like, look at this, I'll show you up close too. So if we get down close here, you can see, we can actually see the soil just here. So man, it actually has worked really, really well. Thinned it out like crazy, which is what you want to do with warm season grass like this, the cooch and kikuyu. There's always you can do it too as well. Buffalo, I would recommend you do not, because it will thin it out too much, because all of your runners or your stolons are actually above the ground and there's nothing underground. So if you start ripping those above ground runners out, there goes your root system. But cooch and kikuyu and zoysia, not a problem. This might be interesting to try with the groomer on the bent grass at some point soon actually as well. But actually, honestly, impressed with that. This is the material it's pulled out. Let's try it with the catcher off, see if it runs a bit better. Right, it's still working, but it definitely is bogging down. But I mean, it is bringing out a lot of material. A lot of material. Like that is really thinning it out. I might just go get my mower and I'm going to scalp an area and see how it goes running through there, and then we'll raise up the height of the depth on this as well, just a little bit higher, and see if it runs a bit smoother as well, because it is cutting out about every meter. It'll just conk out because this is so thick and then kick back in. But it's not a fair test. Like anytime I'd be scarifying, as I said, scalp it before you do it. Just way too thick. Yeah, still bogging down, which I sort of expected. It's just too long. I mean, it is dead going down and making it basically dirt there. So it is pulling out a ton of stuff. See if it works better with that catcher on, because it's just allowing it to flick out a bit more. Yeah, nah. So we'll raise the height of cut up just a tiny, tiny bit. We'll just nick into the surface, or a bit below, sorry. That was good. I only rose it up a tiny, tiny bit. So much better. So you can see it was really, really, really aggressive on the lower setting. I mean, we've gone back to dirt everywhere and thinned it out like crazy, which don't be scared of doing something like this because Kike will love it. I would just recommend scalping it like crazy first so it's not chewing through. Look at this. Look how thick that is. Like, that is insanely thick. Whereas look how thin that is now. Whereas if you're doing like a lighter setting like we just did, didn't conk out at all, and it's still getting down to dirt, pulling out some of that below ground thatch, because you can see it's actually gone down to the soil and pulled some out there. It's actually done a really good job. Quite impressed with that, to be honest. And off that one pass as well, full catcher. Yep, very full catcher. And lots of brown in there as well. So it's done, it's done a pretty mint job. Let's see how many catches of junk we get out of here. It's gonna thin out the canopy anyway and allow some oxygen to get down to the root system below. Like I talked about the other week about with scalping, getting a lot of that dead organic material out of the top is a great way to get your lawn to warm up for the season. Getting stuff from below and the top as well, this is kind of doing a bit of both, is really going to help out with getting this thing warmed up and help it to actually creep sideways and repair, believe it or not. So I'll start on this side of the lawn first, which is about 80 square meters. Other side's about 120, so about 200 square meters all up. See if the battery lasts that long. Fully charged battery, charged it overnight last night. So got on that lighter setting, which is honestly plenty enough to pull out at the moment. If you want to be really aggressive, which you can be with this thing, you can get a lot out. So it's good to see, especially for a battery thing like this at a range like this. But anyway, let's run it now, see how long the battery lasts. Well, we got just a little bit of grass off just that one area there, which is close to 100 square meters. This area just here. Look how much grass. Flip. Like, that is ridiculous. So much grass. It does like a really, really impressive job. I'm quite surprised with that. Now let's see how much battery it's got left. After doing pretty much 100 square meters, just a little bit less as I said. So we've got 1 bar left. So yeah, it's done some heavy work and we've set it quite low and the Kaiku was very, very thick. So you're gonna get, I'd say if your lawn wasn't so thick like this one is here, like the above ground is thick, sorry, not the below ground. So it's not super thatchy, this lawn, it's just a little bit longer than it generally normally is. Your battery would last, they say it lasts up to about 200 square meters on doing a single pass, if it's not super thick. If it is thick like mine is here today, you'd probably only get 120, 130 square meters out of it off a single charge. Only took a couple of hours to charge this battery fully, but yeah, man, really, really good for what it is and as for a battery unit as well. I just want to talk about some pros and cons of this unit here. Now, we'll start with the cons and then we'll go with the pros. So one, it's a battery unit, so once you run out of battery, you're gonna have to go charge it again. You could buy yourself 2 batteries, which would cover you, to be honest, over a 200 square meter area. I'd almost aim for, if you're doing just a yearly renovation and not constantly grooming and stuff, but if you have a machine like this, I'd be doing it every couple of months. I'd be giving it a scarify or a light groom with a little spring one every couple of months, if not monthly, just to keep on top of all that dead material in there. You'll find your lawn will breathe so much better, take water in so much better, take in so many more nutrients as well. So it'd almost be worth getting 2 batteries, or if you're doing it regularly, 1 battery is going to be fine over about 200 square meters. But yeah, that is a bit of a con, is that it is a battery unit. You can't just fill it up with fuel and keep going. Doesn't have quite as much power as like a petrol scarifier, like the Protea one that I've used in the past. So that is another problem as well. It doesn't have as much power, and I mean the catcher isn't huge, so it fills up very, very quickly. They're the only negatives I can really see about it. It can get bogged down if it's super thick, but even my petrol scarifier does that if it's super, super thick as well. So yeah, no matter what, if you're going to thick grass, like it's always going to struggle. That's just the way it is. So a couple of pros. It is lightweight, really, really good on my back. My Protea, I struggle and always have a sore back after using it. So my back was fine after doing this over this nearly 100 square meter area. Rips it out really, really well, can go down to dirt and below dirt and actually just leave basically no grass left as well, so it can rip the guts out of it if you really want it to. You can adjust the height on it, which I think is a huge pro, and it's super easy to adjust the height. For me to adjust the height on my Protea scarifier takes me like 20 to 30 minutes. This takes 2 seconds. Just twist that dial there. So super lightweight, super easy to use. It is a cheaper alternative to a petrol unit. So that is another positive on top of that. And I mean, small, easy to store, and just super effective. I mean, very, very effective. And if you've got these batteries from some other Stihl gear that you've got, you can use it in this as well as your other equipment. So lots of positives. And I'm gonna be using this throughout the season on the Kayak. It's pretty handy that you've got that grooming reel as well. So if you just wanna get the above ground stuff and not the below ground and not be so aggressive, you can also use that as well. So very good, very, very good unit. So I wanted to do this today, test this out to show you guys, but also not a bad thing to do pre-reno. So I'm not gonna have to pull as much out when it comes to doing reno on this next week. So I've got the core aerator booked in for next week. Got my sand there ready to go to top dress. Already given it a fertilize 3 weeks ago now, and this thing's still growing like crazy. If I wanted to push a little bit more growth before next week, I could push out some of my liquid Pronto. That would work well also. But this is getting enough growth now. The temps are warm enough, like our temperature throughout the day, if you add the lowest and the highest temps, are getting above 30 now, so not going to be a problem doing a renovation on this area. I honestly could have done it a couple of weeks ago. It just would have repaired slower. Not bad to wait a little bit longer sometimes if you've got potential frost and stuff floating around as well. But yeah, what we're going to be doing next week is scalping this whole area, like down quite low, scarifying again, which I'm considering using this instead of the Protea just because of my back. And we've already started doing this. I'm gonna do the rest of it tomorrow. Just charge the battery up and do the rest of that other area over there tomorrow. Get it all prepped and then do a heavier one on the day on the lower setting with this as well. And then after the scarification, core aeration, top dress, fertilize, renovation will be done. Really looking forward to it. So thanks guys so much for watching. Really, really appreciate it. If you've got any questions about this little unit just here, let me know in the comments below. But I'll see you guys in the next vid.